And we're live.
I guess Masai likes the hustle. You should give him a jersey that says number 22. Think it's looking pretty good here in the city of Toronto. Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now, just know that you are locked in onto the point with
Skip.
and the King. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, leave comments. You know, we love you guys' comments, especially on our last video. It was absolutely amazing. And thank you, people that were out there. And thank you for enjoying our fantastic guests. Even though we don't have any today, sorry, they're all busy. It's a civic holiday, long weekend here in the city of Toronto. And people got stuff to do, okay? But, Skip, how are you doing, my man?
I'm all right. I'm a little tired. Went to a Jays game last night, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
Okay. So let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Cruz has shipped over here to the city of Toronto to play NBA basketball. It could have been a little something because we know Adam Sandler has been in Yorkville. I know a couple people that were hanging out with him last night, right? We know he's here. Maybe he had something. Maybe he helped orchestrate that. But now that, Skip, you know I can't pronounce this man's name. Juancho Hernangomez. Say it for me.
Juancho Hernangomez, the person behind Bo Cruz, essentially.
There we go. Thank you. Now that he's here in the city of Toronto signing a one-year deal with the Raptors organization, how do you see him fitting within the Raptors organization, my man?
Well, he's peak vision 6'9", right? He's another guy who's 6'9", who has a 7-foot wingspan. Another guy who's basically a power forward, basically a 4-man, 3-4. And in theory, I could see how that would appeal to the Raptors. In theory, because you look at the character from the movie and you're like, man, that guy would fit right in. Blocking everybody, playing great defense all over the place. Like that guy is a Toronto Raptors player. The problem is that Bo Cruz and Juancho Hernangomez are not the same player, at least. And if you look at Juancho's numbers over the past few years, I think he's here to basically fill the Yuta Watanabe role. I think he's going to replace Yuta coming off the bench, just kind of playing those hustle minutes. You know, when someone's hurt, when someone's struggling, when they just kind of need an extra body, break glass in case of emergency type of situation. I don't see him having a huge role on this team. He has not played a large role in the past. He's never averaged more than really 19 minutes a game, other than I think there was one partial season. He's really bounced around the league a lot. I always say Juancho is a really interesting person because I always say, when people ask me about him, this is even before the signing, he is the prototypical just a guy in the NBA. He's just a guy. He's good enough to be an NBA player, but that's about it. He's just a guy who can slide in, sort of fill your rotations out a little bit. The thing that concerns me, though, is that he has not shown the ability to be a consistently good defender over the course of his career. And to get minutes on a Nick Nurse team, especially especially if you're not a big time scorer, not a big time rebounder, like none of his numbers jump off the page. You got to come in and be a lockdown defender. And I haven't seen evidence that Juancho is that. We'll have to see as the season progresses. I haven't really scouted him extensively. I haven't seen his growth over the course of his career. If he has been playing better defense. If you're scouting him on Netflix, he's a great defender. But if you're watching actual basketball games, I'm not sure that he's going to be up to that snuff. But we'll have to see.
I honestly think his fit within what you just said with the Vision 6'9" for the Raptors. I think it is a good fit, but I think it might be down the line in the rotation because ladies and gentlemen, you have seen, how long ago? Skip and I just spoke about the Otto Porter Jr. being signed onto the Raptors and what he can mean for that.
Mhm.
So I do see him. I like what you said there, Skip, about him replacing Utah in a certain way. You know that's my guy. I
Mhm.
love Utah, right? I would move to Japan just to go hang out with them.
Can I just say it's a shame that Sergio Scariolo is not on the team anymore? Juancho's on the team, but that's neither here nor there.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't want him on the team in the first place. I think it's a really good signing, and I think also, what I wanted to say was it's very good that we've just received the hype about the movie Hustle, right? Adam Sandler and LeBron James, executive producers on it, and seeing Bo Cruz, like make a name for himself, especially with Anthony Edwards as the villain in that
Mhm.
movie,
Mhm.
right? But him making a name for himself and bringing that name here to our city, I think that's a good thing. But like I was just saying, Skip, where would he fit within this Raptors roster? Where do you see him?
Well, I mean, we kind of just covered this a second ago, but yeah, bottom line, I think the top 9 are set in stone. He's not going to be breaking into the regular rotation. Then you have the guys behind him. Now, one thing that was announced, I believe, it's not 100% confirmed, but the research I've told me is that it is a fully guaranteed minimum salary contract that he signed, which means that he is a lock to make the team, or near lock to make the team out of training camp. They wouldn't sign him to a guaranteed contract if they weren't planning to break camp with him. Which means that he kind of slides in ahead of your DJ Wilsons, your Armani Brooks, all those guys fighting for a job in camp. I think if Steve Mihalik wasn't going to get cut already, he's probably going to get cut now, at least, and they'll swap roster spots. But yeah, so I would put Juancho Hernangomez kind of right in that 10, 11, 12 spot on the roster, in the mix with Banton, in the mix with Flynn, just to try and fight for minutes, in the mix with Champagne to try and fight for minutes. But not a guy that you're really going to be featuring, not a guy that you're expecting a lot out of. Just kind of a guy who can kind of slide in as a small ball center, maybe in certain lineups, who can just kind of come in when you're just short of body, and just sort of show you what he can do. He has shown some flashes. He's a 35% three-point shooter over his career, which is not amazing. It's not a lot of volume, but it means that, when you're in these situations where a ball gets kicked out to the corner, he's not the worst guy to have standing there. Same with the defense side of the ball. Like, as much as I don't love his numbers, if he can slot in and just be a solid, competent defender, that's all you're looking for. You're looking for a guy who's kind of average at everything across the board. Not a guy who's going to blow you away. Not a guy that's really exciting. Just a guy who can come in and be a guy, be a body.
So keeping him lower on the roster.
Yeah, I don't think it's very high. I mean, it's a guaranteed contract, but it's a minimum salary contract.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm going off script here, but you just said something that just made me think, and now I want to pick your brain about it.
Uh-huh.
You said about him being. By the way, I love that cup. But about him being a bigger guy to come in. Now, the Raptors. Who would you see as the big guys taking the main roles?
Can you explain what you mean a little bit by that?
Well, obviously you got. Okay, let me lead you to this one.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's Cam, there's Precious, there's Pascal, there's Boucher, there's OG. Where do you see him fitting into, like, following up after them in that big man kind of role?
Yeah, the only guy who would be taking minutes from in that case is Kem, because I think Kem is really on the fringes of the rotation right now. I think everybody else you listed is solidly in the rotation, and Juancho will be pretty solidly out of the rotation unless there's a reason to slide him in, unless he really blows. This is actually. Can I just pivot over to the movie for a second? I think the movie was actually a really good illustration of how freaking hard it is to be an NBA player, because you're watching this guy on screen. He's dominating. You're seeing this guy just schooling people, making mixtapes, being this like unbelievable basketball player. But then he gets up against the actual NBA players, and it's like, it's just, there's this other level. And Juancho it's funny because people say, well, Juancho is a different player than the player in the movie, but he's actually kind of the same player, because that guy was just trying to hang on in the NBA too. It's just that the level of competition we're talking about, it's a nice little gut check to realize that the level of competition we're talking about is so much higher than beer league, than casual, than going down to the park and hustling people for money. Like, it's just that next level up. It's so amazingly difficult. Like, Juancho Hernangomez is an amazing basketball player. He would destroy anybody who down at Christie Pitts. But in the NBA, as we're sliding down this roster, I see him being like an 11th or a 12th man who isn't that exciting, is not very... It doesn't really excel on any one side of the ball. He's not a great scorer. He's not a great rebounder. He's not a great shot blocker. He's not a great defender. But if he can just slide in and do a little bit of that stuff, then he'll find some minutes here or there.
That's actually very interesting that he can maybe just be a guy. Skip, I like the way you said that, because the way I see it for the Toronto Raptors, like I mentioned, look at the bigs, right? Mm-hmm. And then we got the positionless Vision 6'9".
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, some of these guys have their spots locked. I think Masai might have something planned for him. I've alluded to this before when we spoke about, a couple other players. Maybe Masai and Bobby are just using them as assets to gain something else, right? Which can be possible. But like you told me earlier today, that with his contract, he would not be able to be traded till January. So that
I think it's actually December 15th. But yeah.
It actually piques my interest on that one. But like you just alluded to about the movie, guys, if you have not seen the movie Hustle on Netflix, go watch it. You guys know I don't like LeBron, right? And he is an executive producer on that movie, and it was a very well done movie. Very well done. I thought it was actually
they needed a fact checker to tell them how NBA front offices work, but other than that, it was pretty good.
Yes, it was pretty fictional, but there was also, especially when he went to your favorite team, Skip, Boston. Mm-hmm. But there was also like other NBA players in the background. Like, if you guys are a fan of the Raptors, you guys know Kyle Lowry. He was in that movie for a split second.
Yeah.
Right, but they did portray him in a certain way in that movie, and I don't know, maybe because like I gotta ask our boy Robert how many takes it probably took for them to come up with some of his plays, and how many times he's got to hit it. But Skip, speaking of the Hustle, and with Adam Sandler currently being here in Toronto, what did you think of the movie itself, showcasing him?
It's an interesting movie. It's a really interesting perspective on a guy trying to make the league and all the stuff that goes on kind of behind the scenes. So I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's a pretty good movie. I did have an issue with the owner pulling all the punches and the GM character kind of not being in the picture. That seems not very realistic, and there were some other weird things in there that were like, this doesn't make sense. Like the draft, first the Sixers are going to sign him to their roster, and then they're going to put him in the draft. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's not the order that things go in. But those little factual errors aside, I thought the movie was a really interesting perspective on a European player trying to make the league, and the other side of basketball, right, where it's like street ball and how that intersects with the NBA. And also, it was interesting just to see all those NBA players make cameos, and I thought they did a really good job of integrating a ton of current NBA players just in cameo roles, playing themselves, or some of them had different names, but most of them were just playing themselves. So it was a really nice mishmash. I do think they did a pretty good job with it. But yeah, I would have liked to proofread the script.
You know what's actually one thing that I found interesting, Skip?
Yeah.
I got a piece of trivia for no, not a piece of trivia, a fact for you.
Okay.
When Sugarman, Mr. 22, went to go visit Bo Cruz and see his mom, you know his mom is actually an international athlete. She
Was
won.
that his mom? Was that Hernangomez's actual mom in the video in the movie? Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, but she won a European Championship with Spain in 1993. They
Oh wow.
They
Interesting.
also didn't show. I know I was 13 years old. They also didn't show that uh, uh Bo Cruz, Herman, right? He actually played for Real Madrid in Spain in international basketball. Did you know that?
I mean, I did not know that previously, but it doesn't surprise me too much. He also plays for the Spanish national team now. We got to separate these two. This is a character versus a real person. Like
Okay.
the character was not
played-
Juancho Hernangomez. The character was Bo Cruz. But
Did you also know his father also played for Real Madrid?
I did not know that.
His father did. Yeah, there's some interesting background in there. But aside, like you just said, separate the movie from the player. Interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of the player himself,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a good pickup for the Toronto Raptors, and I think it can, like you were saying earlier, like for him to replace Utah, it might be a good addition, right? To pick up that lower spot on the roster. Now,
I mean, they might still see him as being a guy who has some upside. I mean, he is 26 years old. He's been in the league 5 years, so he's not a youngster. We're not talking about a like, even though he played a youngster in the movie, like pre-draft or whatever, 22 years old. He's been around the league, and he really hasn't stood out. But if they think there's something they could unlock, I mean, he's still 26, is young enough that he could still have a renaissance and find himself turning into the next Chris Boucher or something. But I mean, I wouldn't be counting on that. I think this is absolutely just a flyer on a guy that was out there on the open market. They were like, we like you a little bit more than the guys we have coming to camp to compete for spots. I think this probably means Armani Brooks is out, probably means Spee is out, might mean DJ Wilson is out. But regardless, these were not guys that were going to be impact players in the league. So Juancho's just taking that job. Yeah, anyway.
so before we head out here, Skip, we're running out of time. So just give me a number on a scale of 1 to 10. How impactful can he be for the Raptors?
3.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Even though Reese said you're the nicest guy in the world. But okay, I honestly I think he could be pretty impactful on the Raptors if they utilize him properly. If
Maybe I'd be happy to be proven wrong. If he's got something in the tank that was not brought out last year in his 5-city tour of, he played for 5 different teams, I think. Minnesota, Memphis in training camp.
Minnesota, Boston, San Antonio, Utah.
And he was also in training camp with Memphis. So
yes,
that's 5 teams. Yeah.
Yes. So we can maybe see, maybe there's a reason he's still in the league.
Yeah.
Because we see some of these guys play him out.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe there's a reason because all of us here in Toronto, we do trust in Masai and Bobby for what they've brought us a couple of years ago. Right. So before we get out of here, Skip, I can't believe it's just you and me today.
Yeah.
Everybody else is busy. But this has been an interesting conversation. Like, I would love to see how he would progress maybe through the Raptor system if he's going to fall through the cracks or if he's going to make it within
Yeah,
the system.
they obviously see something they think they can unlock. Otherwise, why make the signing? But yeah, I wouldn't be expecting the world.
I don't expect the world from him, and I kind of agree with you on his impact. Probably about 3, right? I don't think it's going to be that much. But you've made some great points today, my man. And you guys out there, I'm pretty sure you guys love hearing what Skip has to say. Sorry, I've seen the comments, and I know you guys like when we have more guests, but they weren't around today. It's a long weekend.
We're gonna work on it a little more and get some more guests on the show.
We'll get more. We all know it. Come on, guys. We all know how it is. So you guys know what to do. Go down there. Bother Skip at Dougie Jays on Twitter. He was at the Jays game last night, and from what I understand, it was a pretty good game.
Terrible game. They got pasted. Yeah, go on.
But then go down there to Amazon.ca, SimonBroder.com. I got the bootleg of this book, so you guys can hit me up if you want to spend that extra money and pick it up. You guys know where to find me at King Hussein on all social media platforms. You guys know where to find us at To The Point on Instagram, at To The Point on YouTube, which is where you're watching us right now. And if you're not, you're bootlegging and you owe us a couple bucks. Okay? You guys know. Also on Twitter, we're there. You guys know where to find us. Skip, anything else you want to say to the lovely ladies and gentlemen that love our show?
We'll be back next week with some more news, hopefully. But yeah,
we got a good one brewing for you guys. Okay, you guys will see it. You guys might enjoy it. Actually, you will enjoy it. So on behalf of myself, Skip, and everybody on the To The Point family, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.